Smolderax the Impressive, and he had spent 3 full centuries insisting on that exact epithet, lounged atop his obsidian hoard and nursed a bruised ego. Outside his cavern, tucked into the cliffs above the village of Nether Wheaton, a hand-painted sign bobbed in the wind. Heroes wanted. Dragon problem. Payment negotiable. Mayor Agatha Proudmire Smolderax squinted at the notice through a spyglass nearly the size of a cow. Dragon problem? He muttered. They make it sound as though I were a leaky roof. His tail thumped, scattering rubies. True, he had singed the bell tower last month, but anyone could have mistaken a bell tower for an enormous dinner gong. And yes, perhaps he occasionally borrowed livestock without signing the appropriate paperwork. But villain? Menace? That seemed harsh. A crisp, entrepreneurial cough echoed from the mouth of the cave. A kobold in a doublet, pinched from a noble's laundry line, stepped forward, accompanied by a lanky human with ink-stained fingers and a lute strapped to his back. Great Smolderax, the Impressive, the kobold squeaked. We are from Grand and Glorious Public Relations, Imagecraft Division. My card. He produced a rectangle of parchment. Figwort Grand, Senior Reputation Alchemist. In smaller print, affiliated with the Guild of Creative Excuses. The human bowed with theatrical flourish. I'm Roland the Rhymer, content specialist and jingle architect. We heard you might require narrative adjustment. Are you bounty hunters? Smolderax asked, a thin coil of smoke curling from his nostrils. Figwort flashed a grin full of needle teeth. Perish the thought. We don't slay dragons. We slay misconceptions. We take fearsome reputations and transmute them into pure goodwill at competitive rates. Smolderax's ridged eyebrow rose. I've tried hiring bards before. One wrote a ballad describing me as the vomiter of sizzling doom. Roland winced. Amateur. We'll position you as a pillar of the community. The dragon set down his spyglass. Proceed. But if there is another ballad about sizzling doom, I shall demonstrate the concept firsthand. Figwort unfurled a scroll entitled Rebrand the Dragon, a 12-step strategy. Step 1. Establish core values. Step 2. Community outreach. Step 3. Risk mitigation. Fire. Roland flipped the scroll over. It continues on the back, but you get the gist. Shall we sign a provisional contract? Payment in gold, jewels, or gift baskets? Gold. Smolderax replied. And dental coverage. Dragon dentistry is expensive. The kobold nodded. We have an excellent plan that includes tartar scrubbing and fang whitening. A talon's signature ensued, producing a shrill squeak from the quill that echoed across the valley like a startled piglet. Thus began the first medieval PR campaign ever undertaken on behalf of a 7-ton apex predator. Figwort scheduled an emergency strategy session on a rug singed around the edges. Public perception, he said, pacing, hinges on 2 things, familiarity and free food. I can provide food, Smolderax rumbled. I roast sheep to perfection. Roland tossed a coin. Hold that thought. First, we must measure public sentiment. To the village. Smolderax craned his neck. If I arrive, the townsfolk will scatter like frightened beetles. Exactly why we'll conduct interviews ourselves, Figwort said. Roland, procure clipboards. Dragons are seldom beloved by villages they've roasted, but numbers guide strategy. Hours later, the duo returned carrying a dented bucket labeled feedback. Inside were crumpled slips of parchment, each bearing villager responses. Roland read aloud. Terrifying but punctual. Interesting. Scales blocked out the sun. Laundry still damp. Stole my goat. But at least the goat stopped eating my laundry. He raised brows. See? Nuanced. Figvort produced charts, key pain points, property damage, livestock appropriation, ambient terror, opportunities, heat management, pest control, scenic tourism. We'll pivot from menace to municipal asset. Smolderox perked up. Asset sounds profitable. Figvort sketched a smiling dragon logo, whose fire breath spelled warm hearts, not farms. Our first initiative, the Community Warmth Program. You supply controlled bursts of flame to replace wood-burning stoves, reducing deforestation. You want me to breathe on their kettles? Exactly. Cooking, forging, pottery glazing, renewable elder dragon energy. Will they pay? Minimal fee. Goodwill is priceless. Plus, we'll issue punch cards. 10 kettles boiled, 1 free fang sharpening. Smolderox's tail swished with cautious optimism. Launch day arrived. Figvort erected a kiosk in the village square. A tasteful stand draped in banners reading, "Fire with a Smile." Smolderox's head peeked from behind a stack of hay bales, attempting inconspicuousness, which was difficult, given he was taller than the clock tower he'd previously singed. Roland produced a lute cord. People of Nether Wheaton, behold your new partner in progress, Smolderox the Helpful. He gestured grandly. The crowd collectively leaned backward. Smolderox inhaled. Greetings, delicious, delightful villagers. He coughed. Today, I shall warm your cauldrons free of charge. He exhaled a dainty ribbon of flame that licked the underside of Widow Gretel's soup pot, bringing the stew to an instant rolling boil. Aromas filled the square. The widow blinked. Well, that's efficient. A blacksmith approached, holding a length of iron. Might you heat this for me? Scale Lord. Smolderox obliged. Soon a queue formed. Bakers with proofing dough. Potters with greenware. A beekeeper seeking to melt wax. Children toasted marshmallows the size of fists on sticks, labeled smolder snacks. Roland played a jaunty tune, while Figvort stamped warmth program punch cards. Mayor Agatha observed from City Hall steps, arms folded, lips pursed so tightly she could have cracked walnuts. Eventually she marched over. This is irregular, she said. Figvort smoothed his mustache. Innovative public-private partnership. Your worship. Dragon power replaces wood. Trees cheer. Citizens toast. She glanced at her own punch card. Already 9 of 10 squares punched, courtesy of rapid tea service. Carry on, she muttered. Success, it seemed, was within talon reach, until the incident with the cheese. 2 weeks into the program, Nether Wheaton hosted the annual Festival of Fragrant Fromage. Villagers competed for the coveted Wayfarer's Cup, awarded to the most pungent cheese. Figvort saw an opportunity. Picture it, he told Smolderox. You flambe the winning wheel just enough to caramelize the rind. Spectacle plus flavor equals hearts won. The dragon nodded. I like cheese. Festival day. Roland wrote a ballad titled Smolderox and the Curd of Courage. Figvort unveiled limited edition souvenir spoons shaped like dragon claws. Everything unraveled at precisely 3:14 p.m. Contestant Dobbin Ellsworth presented a monumental Stilton dubbed the Blue Avalanche. Smolderox lowered his snout, inhaled the earthy aroma, and released what he believed to be a gentle warming puff. The cheese ignited. Blue flames whooshed skyward. A tidal wave of molten dairy oozed off the trestle table, splattering bystanders. It smelled like toasted foot. Villagers shrieked. A goat fainted. The Wayfarer's cup melted, drooping like a silver tulip. Mayor Agatha, cheese dripping from her hat, pointed a trembling finger. Enough! Your services are no longer required. Smolderox's wings sagged. I only wanted to help. Roland attempted spin control. Madam Mayor, think of the... She raised a hand. Think of the smell. Figvort, Roland, retract your kiosk before I confiscate your clipboards. Banished, the trio trudged back to the cave. Smoke wisped from Smolderax's nostrils, this time betraying gloom rather than fire. I ruined everything, he sighed. Setbacks happen, Figwort said. Heroes aren't forged in comfort, but in catastrophe, and occasionally in liquefied cheese. Roland strummed a melancholic chord. We need a grand gesture, something even the mayor can't dismiss. Smolderax stared across the valley. A thunderhead gathered above Nether Wheaton, fat with storm. A grand gesture, he murmured. Hold that thought. That night, Tempest Fury hammered the village. Wind howled, hail pelted rooftops, and lightning stabbed the sky like an impatient accountant. The famed windmill, source of Nether Wheaton's grain processing, took a direct hit. Blades splintered, gears squealed. The structure collapsed in tragic slow motion. Flour billowed, mixing with rain to spackle bystanders in raw dough. At dawn, Mayor Agatha surveyed the wreckage. Farmers wrung their caps. Flour reserves would spoil before winter stores could be ground. The village faced breadlessness. Roland and Figwort arrived, drenched, led by a determined dragon whose eyes glimmered with purpose. Step back, Smolderax announced. A murmur rippled through the crowd. Oh no, not again. I vow to mill your grain, he declared. I have wings. I am wind, Figwort whispered. Technically, you're more of a combustion-based entity. Hush, Smolderax hissed. Then he crouched, creating a vortex with his great wings. Gusts whirled sacks of wheat. Villagers clutched hats. Smolderax's tail powered a makeshift crank, the blacksmith rigged overnight from windmill salvage. As he flapped and turned, grinding stones rotated. Flour poured into barrels. Throughout the day, Smolderax kept the stones spinning. When a gear jammed, he heated a rivet for emergency repair. By dusk, every sack of wheat had been milled. Exhausted, the dragon collapsed amid drifts of flour. His red scales powdered white like a colossal cinnamon roll. Mayor Agatha approached, breadcrumbs of remorse trailing her boots. You saved our harvest, she admitted. Smolderax panted. Did I improve my image? She looked around. Villagers nodded. Children waved flowery handprints. The faint aroma of fresh bread wafted from ovens stoked by lingering dragon heat. Indeed, she said. Nether Wheat knows your gratitude, and apparently a bath. A cheer erupted. Someone crowned Smolderax with a wreath, plaited from warm pretzels. He tried to look dignified, though melted salt crystals clung to his horns. With goodwill secured, Figwort intensified branding efforts. The mayor endorsed the Dragon Power Initiative, offering tax incentives to anyone who installed a smolder port, a flat stone slab where the dragon could safely breathe flame. The smith constructed a whistle system, 3 toots for boil, 5 for bake, 7 for emergency. Roland penned brochures. Flour, forge, and friendship. How our dragon energizes Nether Wheaton. Villagers distributed them from carts, one used for anti-dragon petitions. Smolderax embarked on listening tours. He perched politely outside cottages where residents expressed concerns, such as, could you refrain from tail swishing near the outhouse? And please specify in advance before borrowing goats. He took notes on tablets of slate, scratching with a claw. The cheese flambe catastrophe still lingered, though. Figwort insisted they confront it head-on. Transparency, he cried. We'll host a charity fondue to raise funds for windmill reconstruction. Absolutely not, said Smolderax. Vivid memories of burning Stilton swirling in his psyche. Roland countered. You won't breathe fire. We'll use a cauldron heated by candles. You simply greet guests and wear this adorable apron. The apron read, I'm hot, but my heart is Swiss. Smolderax sighed but complied. The fondue gala attracted nobles from neighboring counties. They dipped bread, told stories, and donated sacks of coins. A jester attempted to juggle pickles, slipped on a rind, and sailed face first into the cauldron. Smolderax plucked him free with 2 claws, cooled the scald with an icy exhalation, a trick picked up from a frost dragon pen pal, and received a standing ovation. Momentum grew. Nether Wheaton erected a statue. Smolderax perched protectively over a loaf of bread. The plaque read, "From peril to pillar, our dragon, our friend." Alas, no victory campaign is complete without sabotage. Sir Reginald Hardmead, knight-errant and self-styled Dragonsbane, read reports of Smolderax's Rebrand with palpable disgust. "A dragon who wants hugs! Outrageous!" he told his squire, while sharpening an overly compensatory sword named Morbid Justice. Positive press threatened his livelihood. One cannot sell heroic ballads if the so-called monster hosts tea parties. He visited Nether Wheaton clad in burnished armor that clanged like a percussion ensemble. "I, Sir Reginald, have come to liberate you," he announced, expecting cheers. Instead, he received perplexed stares, followed by a request from the baker to move. "You're blocking the queue for cinnamon scones." Horrified, Sir Reginald stormed to Smolderax's cave. "Fiend!" he bellowed. "Face me!" Inside, Smolderax lounged, reading Governance for Gentle Giants. He looked up. "Do you have an appointment?" "I require none. Evil requires smiting." Figwort emerged, wearing spectacles and carrying a clipboard. "Actually, we have a sign-up sheet for grievances. Currently, the beekeeper is scheduled at 2, the cooper at 3, and at 4, a harpist wishes to negotiate acoustics for a duet." Sir Reginald's helm steamed. "You can't schedule heroism." Smolderax closed his book. "If we duel, may we do so after the beekeeper? She is very punctual." The knight attacked regardless. Steel clanged against scale, producing more sparks than harm. Smolderax yawned, accidentally exhaling a tiny puff that singed Sir Reginald's plume. "Enough," Figwort said, stepping between combatants. "Sir Knight, you seek glory. I propose an alternative path that benefits all parties." Sir Reginald hesitated. "I'm listening." "Briefly. Participate in a staged demonstration. You wield your mighty sword against a papier-mâché effigy of Smolderax. Children boo you comically. Then Smolderax defeats you by gently tapping your helm, whereupon you declare, 'My eyes are opened. Dragons can be kind.' And we all sell commemorative pennants." Roland appeared, strumming a heroic motif. "I already drafted a speech." Sir Reginald opened his mouth, closed it, considered brand value. "Will I get top billing?" "Naturally," Figwort said. "You'll be the man enlightened." The event, the day fear was slain, drew massive crowds. Sir Reginald hammed it up, leaping, rolling, and ultimately conceding with a theatrical swoon. Children hurled confetti. Vendors sold formerly fearsome t-shirts. Everyone won, including Sir Reginald, who left with a new contract endorsing dragon-safe cookware. Months passed. Smolderax became an indispensable civic utility. His weekly story and s'mores nights outside the library sparked record literacy rates. He partnered with local farmers to create the first Dragon Rotisserie Corn Festival. Tourism surged. The mayor convened a council meeting to codify Smolderax's role. "Item 1, she said, adjusting her spectacles. "Appointing Smolderax as official protector of Nether Wheaton. Salary to include sheep stipend and unlimited cabbage. He claims it aids digestion." A unanimous vote ratified the measure. Celebrations ensued, culminating in fireworks launched from Smolderax's nostrils. A carefully choreographed display involving colored smoke powders, preloaded into hollow gemstones. At evening's end, Smolderax perched on the rebuilt windmill, now reinforced with iron and sporting decorative wings. Figwort and Roland joined him, sharing roasted chestnuts. "You've transformed public perception," Roland said. "Ballads praise your warm heart." Figwort sipped a mug of mulled cider. "Our client satisfaction metrics are through the turreted roof." Smolderax gazed across the starlit valley. Lanterns flickered like fireflies. "I learned something," he said. "Reputation isn't forged by hoarding gold, but by investing warmth, literal and metaphorical." "A perfect line for the memoir," Roland noted, quill at the ready. They sat in companionable silence until Smolderax cleared his throat. "About my dental plan," he said. "I chipped a fang on a pretzel wreath. Coverage still valid." Figwort grinned. "Full coverage, plus complimentary whitening. Remember, we slay misconceptions, not molars." Laughter rolled into the night, mixing with the hum of mill gears and the faint scent of baking bread, aromas of a village and its dragon, bound not by fear, but by flames of friendship, expertly managed by the world's first medieval PR team.